Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Historical Humans Reacts. And today we are going down to our neighbor to the south, Mexico, where the remains of a 400-year-old wooden ship were found. Quite the discovery, quite the find.
Doing some rescue archaeology there, or salvage archaeology, depending on who you ask.
Ooh,
Yeah.
fancy words.
Yes. The excavation was conducted in the region of Lake Chalco, which is one of the uh, one of the Great Lakes of Mexico, and it is named after the ancient city of Chalco, which was one of a series of Mesoamerican cities, sort of along the freshwater routes in the area. These were both Toltec and Aztec cities. However, I believe the boat that they found comes after the fall of the Aztecs. I
From
believe it is
about
a
1521, the Viceroyalty of Spain. Of New Spain,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, of New Spain. Yes, it is a. I believe it is a Spanish vessel. They found parts of. Uh, Seems to be because what they found seems to be somewhat of a small one for a Spanish vessel because it's seven pieces of timber, each of which are about a meter long. So you know, that's what going to add up to about 7.5 yards.
Something like that.
So it's not a particularly large vessel, but this would be Spanish era, at
Yeah,
the very least.
Which
We'll
is
say I do.
fairly interesting too to see wood survive that long, especially being buried. Because like you could tell just from the pictures of this in situ that it is wet soil. You could see how just
Yeah,
drenched it
uh,
is.
it
yeah,
must have
and
been a very anaerobic environment.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, and one of the things here, because they talk about later in the article, is this they think this might be one of the ships that was actually used to seize the cities on the lakes, as um as Cortez ordered the construction of brigantine vessels, which are a sort of shallow hold vessel to allow him and his men to assault the cities via sea, um, or via lake, I suppose,
So
and take them
so what you're
during.
telling me is
Yeah,
these are potentially Cortez's vessels.
yeah,
One of
yeah.
arguably history's worst villains.
Well, do you want to hear a fun ship of Theseus part of it too?
Oh no!
Sure,
So
make the connection.
so so apparently there is a one of the theories that has come out of this find here is that these vessels would have been rebuilt out of leftover wood from when Cortez destroyed his own fleet at Veracruz in 1519 to prevent his men from deserting back to Spain.
Like I said,
Good
Cortez deserves a
God.
very, very special place in hell.
Yes, yes. For those
So
who
you're
might be
telling me he
wondering why we
reduced.
hate Cortez so much, I can sum it up in this little parable. When Cortez takes Tenochtitlan in 1521, he is alleged to have looked out over the ruin of the city and cried, saying, "It was so beautiful, but it was not mine." This man, destroyed an entire empire because it wasn't his.
He thought colonialism was too easy of a challenge and wanted to push the limits. So he not only did colonialism, but he also just straight up would murder villages of people who, one person may not have sided with him, and he would just wipe them all out.
Yeah,
Oh,
Single handedly wiped
Cortez.
out.
but yeah. Yes, but yes. Now that we've established the villainy that is Cortez, let's talk a
Hernan
little bit about the
Cortez.
boat that has been found, because the boat, it's not the only thing that has been found. It has been found within the remains of a settlement at a depth of about 2.5 meters into the dirt.
Wow. That is a deep excavation by
Yeah,
any means.
yeah. It is on the northeastern shore of Lake Chalco, near the ruins of a Tlatlico city called Tlapacoya. So this may actually be a like suburb or even a neighborhood attached to the actual urban center of. I must try and say it again. Tlapacoya. I really have to try for some of these names.
Yeah. So kind of it's interesting, but also if it's on the shores of the lake, lakes flood a lot, and every time they flood, they have mass depositional events which just dump boatloads of soil. So that's deep, and I'm very curious because this article doesn't really talk about what the rescue aspect of the operation is. I'd be very curious to see what sort of project they're doing that requires them to go so deep.
Some sort of land development has to be.
Not that deep, Aaron. Usually land development doesn't dig that deep. It has to be something a lot larger.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
well-
Well, it does
It's not-
say rescue excavation, so it could instead of salvage archaeology, so it could potentially be some sort of natural thing that they're worried about happening that might, like the riverbank, might be starting to slide.
It could
Ooh,
be,
that's-
or it could be flooding too, because it does
Yeah,
look
or-
very.
Yeah, it is very water like. It could also be flooding. So it might be a natural, shall we say, disaster that is going to push this site off limits, as opposed to people trying to build more McDonald's.
Yeah, geez, but that in itself is a huge find because not only do you have this ship that's somewhat well preserved in the soil, but you're finding it alongside a settlement. Like there's got to be a boatload of super fascinating artifacts that they're finding alongside this that aren't as much to grab the headlines, but that gives so much more insight.
Yeah, and just with the headliner too, it's not only a well-preserved boat, but it's a boat which we have reason to believe may be tied to one of the most significant historical events in the region, the sacking of Tenochtitlan.
Tenochtitlan.
Yeah, like that is
Yeah.
like that was the death knell of effectively all of Mexico to Spain.
Golly.
The Aztecs were the most powerful force in the region, and after Tenochtitlan, they were practically non-existent.
All thanks to the Spanish conquistadors.
Yes, we do love them here on Historical Humans, don't we, everybody?
We love talking about the
Yep.
conquistadors, the colonialists, the
Yep.
British Museum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a lovely little article about was effectively a very important time and a very important find because, I mean, the picture shows one of the oars, I believe, at the very top. Just look at that thing. That is a 6-inch ruler next to it.
Does it
and
say
looks like a
specifically that
tooth
that's
pick.
one of the oars?
Well, I'm saying I think it's one of the oars.
I think it's a piece of the hull. I think that's
Yeah,
just decayed wood.
I'm just seeing the way it narrows at the side.
I
here.
understand. I see where you came to that conclusion, but
Yeah.
I
But
think that's
just-
just a decayed piece of log. But it's very fascinating
but-
to see.
Yeah, but yeah, just the point I'm trying to make is just look at that 6-inch ruler next to it, and like it looks like a toothpick compared to was effectively just a single part of this vessel.
Yeah.
Just what we can effectively describe as one piece.
Yes.
And it's just this is not a small thing,
Actually,
as small as it is for a Spanish ship.
What's up, Aaron?
could be a rudder.
A rudder?
Could
Yep.
be.
Once again,
I mean,
he's
these weren't very massive ships. They were brigantine ships.
yeah.
Well, anyways, on that note, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to check out our next video, and we'll see you in the next one.